One of the most important positions are the one with isolated queen's pawns. This is a very common theme in a lot of openings, and if you want to succeed at chess, you simply have to understand this. And this will be an introduction to these kind of positions, and I hope you will enjoy it. This is GM Talks, and remember to like and subscribe. We're going to see former world champion and deceased world champion Tigran Petrosian against Yuri Balashov as the introductory game. It's in the Soviet Union in 1974, where Tigran is white and he plays c4. And we'll go fast forward. This is known as the Nimzo Indian, and the isolated queen pawn position can arise from a number of openings. The most notorious is, of course, the Tarrasch variation with c5 and d5 in the Queen's Gambit, but also in the Queen's Gambit Accepted, or in the Panov Caro-Kann, or in the French Tarrasch. A lot of openings you can have this kind of structure, and it's very important to know how to play in these positions, what to aim for, what's good for white, what's bad for white, and how to play. What are your plans? What to do? Should you try to win the pawns, or should you block it, and so on? Okay. And this is the Nimzo Indian Rubinstein complex, and well, this is maybe not nowadays. They don't play this move that much, because after this move we actually reached a position where white has lost a tempo compared to the normal variation, but it doesn't change the outline of the position. White has here the isolated queen pawn. It is, please note that black cannot take this pawn because of the check here. So white will take back if you take, and queen takes, and bishop takes x7 with a discovered check, and the queen is lost. This is a common theme in these kind of positions. Of course, if black plays something like g6, then there's no longer a check, and white will have to cover the pawns. What you can say in general is, with this pawn on d4, the isolated pawn, you have a weak pawn. There's no doubt about it. But sometimes, and this can be good, it can march forward and exchange itself, which will leave us with what you call an open center. And that is in general to the advantage of the best developed player, the one with the active pieces. And that will often be white. Sometimes it will just lead to a draw, but sometimes white will keep a nagging initiative after d4, d5. In general, white has very free piece play. He has a little bit more space. If we do like this, we can see that white controls up till the 4th rank, black controls to the 6th rank, and we are fighting over, we'll make that yellow, this 5th rank. And white can get all his pieces out. He would love to get an attack. Black would love to exchange pieces. The more pieces that are exchanged, the weaker the isolated pawn becomes. Rook e1, very natural move, rook into the open file. And this is one of the things with white. You have two open files. In generally, the C file is not as effective as the E file. So the E file is more important. So often you will love to have a rook here. It would aid in the attack on black's king, which is the one we're hoping to get after. B6, very natural move. The bishop will in general be very strong on this diagonal. So you would love to have it here. Also, please notice that the position changes a lot if black's bishop is on the g7 square and he has fianchettoed his bishop. Then the attacking chances are less, but black has less control in the center in general. Okay, because the pawn is not on e6. A3, preventing this move is often a good move, and bishop b7, bishop c2. And why do you play bishop c2? Well, because this pawn was not threatened yet. Black couldn't take it. So why do we play bishop c2? Well, the idea is to play queen d3. We'll see that next, to create a battery attacking here. And if this knight were to disappear some magically, oops, we'll get rid of that, then it would be mate. Rook c8 into the open file. Black often tries to get some counterplay on the c file and on the d file, and he would love to put pressure on d4, of course. And especially he would love to control the d5 square so the pawn will not move forward. Queen d3, setting up this battery. And when white has set this up, then in general, we will get back to that in later series on this isolated queen pawn. In general, black would love to play this. He would not love to, this is, in this position, this is the only good move, just blocking the diagonal. Here's another rule of thumb. Whenever black goes d6, white will try to play bishop b3 and d5. And because f7 with d6 played is much weaker due to bishop coming here and knight coming here. So in general, it will, and we will also see that in the game actually, because black will eventually have to play d6. Please notice that something like h6 is not really what you love here, because this actually gets stronger, and now you can't even block it. So if this knight was to, it can never move now, and that's of course annoying. Black didn't pay attention. Well, at that time it was not known what white could do in this position. So in this position, black should have played g6. He didn't. And white has a very strong move here. By the way, this position once arose with Karpov as black, and white didn't play the more or less winning move, which is, have you seen it? d5. It's very thematic. You should always look for this move when you're playing white, and you should look out for it when you're playing black. Of course, black could move the knight, and that would probably be best, just losing a pawn, but maybe damaging white's center with the pawn, knight on f3, and black has managed to hold that. He cannot take with the knight because, well, let's see it. Just so here, and it's checkmate. So this is, of course, not possible. So either he moves the knight or he takes with the pawn, and he took with the pawn, and then comes bishop d5. And now we see why white played d5, because he could have played bishop d5 immediately, but then comes d6. And the idea is that after something like d6, then white has the following move. Boom, big problem. This diagonal is in trouble, and if you take with the knight, then it's hanging immediately. But if you take with the queen, then knight takes d5, and due to the pin, white black will lose material. This is a very common trick, and it's very important to remember it. So g6 didn't help, so he played knight e4. But that doesn't help much either, because white is clearly better developed and more aggressively posted here than black. So after take, has to take back, queen takes, threatening mate again in two moves here. Nothing except g6 help, but white will get his queen here, and we see that a knight one on d5 would be nice. Queen c7, and we see another very important feature. By the way, this position was reached, I think, and where white made a mistake here. The correct and best move is this move. And already you're actually threatening this move, because, for instance, if something like this, then you just take, and if take, check here, and it's mate next move. Very common attack. So black is already in deep trouble here. Bishop takes f7 is threatened. If you take on d5, knight takes, then white is threatening both h7 and f7. So there's really, it's really not much fun here. He played h5, and white found a nice little move here. He played queen e4. and that looks weird, but it is, you could say that it's making a pin here, but it's also going to this diagonal. Oops, that was shrewd here. But the big threat, of course, is this move. And after this move, he's crashing through. Take. And take. And here. And the big threat here is a check. Here. Mate. And if the bishop moves, then it comes on c4. And this is already a winning attack. Something like this is just made in two, actually. He found a move that didn't lose at once, queen d6, but of course it's hopeless. Check. The king is sucked out to the in the middle of the board, and just attacking the queen. And here, threatening mate. And after this move, black resigned. This pin here will cost at least a piece. So this was a classic game from the Soviet Union, 1974, brilliantly performed, executed by Tigran Petrosian, and it shows that White's attack is very dangerous in these kind of position. They often arise from Nimzo Indian, some Tarrasch, and Caro-Kann, Panov-Variation. But it can arise out of nowhere, and I would suggest that you learn to play these kind of position with both colors. Knowing what to do with white and knowing what to do with black is absolutely essential, and we will continue this as a series, a little bit like we did with the Carlsbad structure, learning to play these kind of positions with both colors. I hope you enjoyed this introduction to the isolated queen pawn position. Very important theme in chess, and see you soon. Thank you for watching.